Hi, Dr. Stephen Gilligan back here with you, and I want to talk with you about week one of the Generative Trance 3-week intensive this year. For the first time, we're going to do week one as a virtual course and do 3 days a virtual module at the end of April, and then the second 3 days in the middle of May. We have found the virtual communities to be really, really awesome. We had to initiate them during COVID, and they turned out to be a wonderful way to learn this work. What is the work? Well, when we talk about generative trance, we're talking about what I would call a third generation of trance work. The first generation is what we would call the authoritarian approach. It's what most people think about when they hear the word hypnosis. And here the notion is as in all the models, you've got two different minds. And the deeper mind, the unconscious mind, carries these representations of the world. And that those representations can get locked and fixed in particular ways. And so in standardized hypnosis, it's thought that the unconscious is sort of not that intelligent. And in order for change to occur, you need the conscious mind to come basically direct it and command it and authoritatively tell it how to shape up and how to be a certain way. This notion that the conscious mind is more intelligent than the unconscious is the source of a lot of modern suffering. Nothing could be further than the truth. But nonetheless, that's not what generative trance is about. I worked in the Stanford Hypnosis Labs during 5 years of graduate work at Stanford. This is where the standardized authoritarian approaches were used. There were very different types of trances than I've experienced in other places. During that time, I was studying with Milton Erickson, who is sort of known as the pioneer of modern hypnosis, certainly modern clinical hypnosis. And Erickson represents what we would call the second generation of trance work, where the unconscious has beautiful intelligence, great wisdom, how it can be experienced and expressed in many, many different ways, and everybody's got their own individual way of connecting with it. And therefore, for techniques to really tap into that, they have to be individualized. You have to use the patterns of the person and for good, both the positive and the negative, to open up this deep place where lasting change can occur. So in the Ericksonian approach is basically thought that the unconscious is really, 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 really smart, but the conscious mind, not so much. So you kind of got it out of the way and then had to have some brilliant practitioner like Milton Erickson or some hypnotherapist to be able to take over the conscious mind and direct it in a benevolent way. This is not how creativity works. I think all the creativity research over 100 years clearly shows that sustainable creativity is a conversation between two very, very different modes, the nature, nonverbal, interconnected wholeness of the creative unconscious lives in the body, but also the body of the planet. And secondly, this virtual, verbal, cognitive kind of make-believe, invisible world of our conscious mind. So what generative trance is a whole tradition for how to be able to help somebody honor both minds and be able to have them play music together so that some really, 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 really great stuff can happen. This is what you'll learn in week one. You'll learn the theoretical framework. You'll learn these different ways of thinking about the unconscious and the conscious. You'll learn a basic framework for using it for personal change. We'll go through a 7-step model in terms of how to set the space, how to do an interview, how to develop a trance, how to bring into the safety of that trance whatever needs to be transformed, how to be able to make that transformation, and how to be able to follow through. That's a lot. But it's a way of saying that this work is both a disciplined, structured work, where you learn a lot of specific things. And on the other hand, it's a process of deep, deep surrender. It's like swimming in the ocean, or like being at a musical concert, or like being in a community where you have to learn trust. So those two sort of yin-yang complementarities is what we're studying and learning, how to combine yin and yang, if you will, to open the middle way, to open a doubt, to open this way of wholeness. We will really emphasize not only how this is relevant at individual levels, but it's also very relevant at deeper community collective levels, because that's especially where there's a lot of struggles and a lot of disturbances right now. In any case, I know that you will find generative trance to be really fun, really interesting, really amazing. So please come join us for week 1. Bye.